Teen Titans number 12, written by Scott Lobdell, art by Brett Booth. Last issue we left off with Wonder Girl being completely absorbed by her silent armor and begging Red Robin and Superboy to stop her before she kills again. And then this issue, some amount of time have passed, and Superboy is being thrown through a tree by Wonder Girl out in the middle of some woods at a cabin, where I guess they've brought her to in order to not allow other people to get hurt, but she's still fighting against them, despite the fact that she wasn't before. We've clearly skipped some time. And she even says, like, we have a line here of Red Robin saying, "Can you remember asking Superboy and me to help you?" Immediately followed by, "That was foolish of me. I can find the way to freedom on my own." So, like, that was literally just meant as a cliffhanger, and we are immediately undoing it, but whatever. So Superboy and Red Robin are putting up a fight trying to stop her, and Red Robin is stopping Superboy from laying the hurt, saying, like, "Cassie, I know you're in there. Please come back to us." And she's like, "No." He's like, "All right, wife, if you won't come back, then you're just going to have to kill me." And she's like, "Okay." And she just goes to kill Red Robin, and Superboy pulls him out of the way, and they're like, "Okay, maybe we should have a different strategy to this." Then we cut over real quick to Bunker, Kid Flash, and Solstice, who are waking up somewhere in Jersey. And Solstice and Kid Flash are telling Bunker, like, "Hey, we were told to stay low and, keep out of this. If we're going to be part of the team, then we need to listen to orders. So we're just not going to be part of this arc." And that's it. That's all we're doing with them. So then Superboy, he comes in, he attacks Wonder Girl, and the suit does want Wonder Girl to be called Wonder Girl, despite the fact that Cassie usually hates it. So that's something the suit's doing. Anyway, he comes in and he just dive bombs her, and there's this big explosion which does nothing to her, and she's like, "Seriously, that was your plan?" And then Red Robin comes in and he's like, "Nope, he was just a distraction." And he uses his wing suit thing to hurt or to make her bleed slightly through the armor. And she screams out the name Hela, like, in the way that Wonder Woman says Great Hera, she says Hela, so giving little hints as to what's this coming to. But as soon as Red Robin swipes her, she grabs him by the neck and says, like, "Yeah, okay, you got me, but I'm healing up almost immediately. So all of that for just a drop of blood." But then we find out that Superboy actually dive bombed next to her in order to get a hand on her, and then he's going to use his telekinetic ability. So he gets the hand on her and uses that TK power to separate the armor, like, physically from her. And we see that it's held in place by a whole bunch of, like, spikes and stuff, but he is managing to pull it off. And as it gets pulled off, it just sort of, like, disintegrates. Like, it's no longer there. So she collapses and she's like, "Oh boy, I finally feel free in my own body. Thanks, guys." But they can't respond because they're held in place by a paralytic gas put in place by some dude who just showed up. He was the guy from last issue. And the dude's name is Diesel. And he's like, "Hey, how's it going, Cassie?" And she's like, "Diesel, if you've ever loved me at all, don't hurt them or me." And he's like, "Oh, you're playing the love card, even after how you left me for dead." So, they have a history. And they get into a little bit of a fight. And he's apparently looking for the armor. And she's like, "Oh, well, you're literally 2 seconds too late. We just destroyed the armor." And he's like, "That's not possible. Like, it's always going to be a part of you, the same way that this armor is always a part of me." And he uses whatever powers while, grabbed onto her arm to transfer over something. I can't tell if it's the armor. I can't tell if it's life force. I genuinely have no idea what's going on. But regardless, he's now wearing an armor set. And he says, "Oh, well, I've had many years to think about my destiny, and I'm now totally cool with being the harbinger for the end of the world. So, bye." Oh, and he says, like, "You could have saved us all a lot of pain if you just told me that you loved me and meant it, Cassie." So, clearly an ex-boyfriend of some regard. So anyway, he flies off. Red Robin and Superboy unfreeze. They make their way over to Cassie. And Cassie literally, she immediately starts laying into them and just like, "Are you guys idiots? You just got me out of that silent armor, and yes, that silent armor does horrible things to me, and yes, I wish I was dead for every minute of every day, but I have to get that armor back, or else the world is doomed." So the world is doomed. This one also came with a backup covering a story that came out of DC Universe Presents number 12. I'll get to that on the 5th week. But yeah, it was okay, so handling it in halves here. So they get the armor offer. I like the plan, actually. I like how it was like a double bait and switch of just getting Superboy close enough and then Red Robin being the distraction. And then it was actually Superboy who did it. I like the bait and switch. That one was okay. As for the whole Diesel thing, I'm okay with you introducing character and like referencing mysterious events in the past of like, oh, we have a history, but like, what does it mean? I'm okay with that if I had any trust that we would get answers, but I don't. I genuinely do not believe that we are going to get half the answers to this. I mean, I'm sure we'll get the like end of the world thing, but like he just offhandedly mentions, let me see if I can find it real quick. He offhandedly mentions, after leaving me for dead in Angkor Wat. I doubt we'll ever figure out that story. I think it's just one of those things that they throw in to be like, oh yeah, see, they have a history together. We'll never explain that history, but they have it, and that's just as good as explaining it, to which I respectfully disagree. So this particular issue, art it's Brett Booth. It's energetic. I'll give it that. But I can't say much more. Honestly, I got to give this one like a 5.5. Just based on, I don't feel like that. I mean, the fact that this one was already cut short because it came with a backup, but without any extra pages added to it, like, it feels like this. It jumped into it suddenly because we had some level of a time skip. Then it just rushed through it to be like, oh, but now her armor's off. And now we just introduce this whole other thing as well. Like, just follow the plot beats. Like, just be like, at the end of the last issue, she asked for your help to not kill again. Have an issue of being transported and having to be like held under heavy sedation, like having her fight against the armor. And then we get to this cabin issue. But like we're just skipping ahead to all the rock'em sock'em robots parts. And I don't like how that's done. Maybe that's just me. Maybe I'm expecting too much from superhero comics. But I think that there is so much more potential to tell an actual story here rather than, teenagers who fight. So 5.5, and it's barely holding on to that.